Hi guys, my name is Natasha. I live in the far east of Russia in the city of Khabarovsk, but currently I'm in my hometown, Spassk. And as you probably know from my previous video, I came here to celebrate the New Year's with my parents. And now I've been here for more than a week, and this time is not that productive, so I have to prepare for my Chinese exam. But the only thing I was doing, I read a book by Chekhov, Ostrov Sakhalin, and I was watching some YouTube videos, educational videos, but still it wasn't enough. So I remembered that, you have to make videos, and actually today's video can be called a Q&A that nobody asked for. I asked you to ask me some questions, but it was back in October, so only now I decided to go back to that video, so I'm sorry guys for such a delay, but since I've got more views recently, I'm going to make another Q&A video, maybe in a month. And now I'm sitting near our Christmas tree with our beautiful grandfather Frost and Snegurочка, and I hope that you're enjoying my background. Let's start! The first question is, alcohol in Russia, is it as bad as the cliched stereotypes of everyone drinking vodka all the time? Yeah, of course we drink vodka every day. What else you think is here? I think it's a stereotype, because if you look at the statistics showing the most drinking countries in the world, Russia will not be the first one there. The thing is that we indeed have a lot of drinking, and I think it's mostly connected with the poverty. There's a lot of people who live with a very low quality of life in Russia, and they don't see any other alternative except of drinking. The drinking legal age in Russia is 18, but teenagers usually start drinking way earlier. So I tried alcohol with my friends when I was 10 years old, but I started partying, drinking when I was about 16. Now I still drink, but I do it more wisely. I don't buy that cheap cocktails that we used to buy, oh my god. And we have a joke that Russian kids stop drinking by the age of 21 when American kids only learn how to drink. We also have our Russian traditions of drinking. We have our traditional drinks like vodka. Also we have a drink made on honey. It's called medovukha or mead. That's all being said, there's still a drinking problem in Russia, but it's not because it's our traditional trade, but just because of the poverty. Okay, let's go to the next question. Russian closed cities, where they are and what happens there. Honestly, I don't know much about these cities. I only know that they have something to do with nuclear energy and weapons. You cannot see them on the map, and they're not mentioned in media, and you can go there only with some special pass. That's all I can say about them. That's all I'm allowed to say. The third question is, what places you would like to see and why? I would name several places. First, Easter Island. I've been always fascinated by these stone figures called moai, and I want to take a picture on the background of them. Next place I want to see is Australia. I'm really interested in history of that place, and I also want to hear and practice that Australian variant of English. And one more place is actually several places, and they're located in the far east of Russia. It sounds very strange because I myself live in the far east of Russia. But the thing is that for us, it's very hard and expensive to travel there. So I want to see the Sakhalin Island, Kamchatka and Chukotka Peninsula. Why I want to go there? Because I just like Sakhalin Island, and as I said, I recently read that book by the great Russian author Anton Chekhov, and he described the life on convicts and the attempts of the Russian monarchy to colonize the Sakhalin Island and how they failed. And now Sakhalin is a pretty thriving district because of the oil production and because they're close to Japan. I also want to go to Kamchatka because of the nature. There are beautiful geysers, how they're called. Google, help me.
Giza.
Thank you. I like to go to the capital of Kamchatka, Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky, to see their local bars, to speak to the local people. And for the same reason, I want to go to Chukotka. And once I found a community on VK, it's like a Russian social network. It was a community of people who live in the capital of Chukotka, Anadyr. I made a post on that group, like, guys, do you really live in Anadyr? Or maybe you're just pretending. And they said, yeah, we really live here. And I started communicating with one girl from there. She even told me about some theater club in her school. And I was like, wow, even though I myself live on the very edge of Russia, I still couldn't believe that people could live there. It's so close to the United States, actually. And I wish our countries had better relationships to make some flight connection there or make a bridge over the Bering Strait. What is your dream job? Okay, this is the tough one because it's a very common thing to say, but I really don't know what I'm going to do after my university. I'm graduating this year, and even though I even studied in the United States for a year due to that exchange program, I still don't know what to do. My major here in Russia is translation studies, English and Chinese, but I don't know Chinese at all. And the problem is that I didn't choose this language. I wanted to study Japanese, but on the first year, my university said that, well, we don't have a Japanese teacher, so you guys have to choose something else. And it was a mistake that I didn't choose German, but I chose Chinese, and I understood that I don't like it only on the second year of my studies. And in Russian universities, it's just impossible to change your major. You have to completely drop from the university, you have to apply again, and you cannot just drop a class and to sign up for a new one. So I was literally forced to study Chinese for all these 4 years. Though my third year was spent in the United States due to that exchange program, there's no job fairs, no preparation. It's very outdated and old-fashioned, and I don't want to be a translator. I don't want neither to sit and translate text nor to sit somewhere at the conference and to translate some important negotiations. I don't know, just not mine. I'm more loosey, can I say so? I'm more artistic. I just want to be useful for the society. I want to improve Russia. I want to promote feminism, LGBT plus rights. I want to fight with domestic abuse. I want to also promote ecological consciousness. But I feel that for this I'm not educated enough. I know that it's like good, but I haven't read any books to educate myself about it. So there's a lot of things I have to study, and that's why I'm thinking about going for my master's degree somewhere abroad, maybe to Germany. And again, I can't do it only for free. I have to apply for some scholarship, and I don't know, I think it will be hard for me to do. I don't know, I don't see myself as a leader of some company, as a business woman. The only thing I know is that I want to be useful for the society, I want to make money and to live happily and make people's lives happier too. What is the religious landscape in Russia and your personal views? Whew. Okay, there are a lot of religions in Russia, and if you look at this picture, you can see that the majority of Russians are Orthodox Christians. Also, we have Muslims in Russia, and they mostly live in the Republic of Tatarstan, Bashkortostan, and in the region of the Caucasus Mountains. And there are a lot of peoples like Dargins, Chechens. Their values and beliefs are very different from our Russians. I mean, from ethnic Russian people, because ethnic Russian people, they have Slavic ethnicity, but Caucasus people, they're different, as well as Tatars. Also, we have Buddhism in Russia. It's followed mostly by people in the Buryatia Republic, Buryats, and by Kalmyks. They live in the Republic of Kalmykia. And also we have shamanism in Yakutia, for example. We have Judaism too. But I have something to say. Yeah, we say that we are Orthodox Christians in Russia, but in fact, People are not religious at all. I was baptized. My dad sometimes go to church. He sometimes reads Bible, but that's it. And we in Russia don't see churches as a place for our community meetings where we see all our friends and neighbors. It has something to do with our history. In the Soviet Union, religion was abolished. They even turned churches to warehouses. So I am a child of the last Soviet generation, so my parents were raised by people who in their turn were not religious themselves. But also what I noticed that among my friends, there are no religious people. It's not that I was choosing such a friend circle on purpose, no, but just it shows you the real statistics. And another personal beef that I have with our church is that church is not about the golden cupolas and expensive cars and watch. I don't like how our government is using religion as a boosting of patriotism, and on TV they show as Putin went to the church and some religious holiday. Like, I don't care where Putin went, I care about his politics, but I have to watch as he puts that candle. What is your favorite food you had outside of Russia? My favorite dish is meat in sweet and sour sauce. It's from Chinese cuisine. I think Mexican kitchen, tacos, burritos. I enjoyed hummus too. I think here I will just put a lot of pictures of dishes that I really like. If you had $1 billion American dollars, what would you do with it? First, I would invest them to myself, maybe to my education, and to make some business and to multiply that initial amount of money. And second, I would like to donate it to science, mostly to medicine. I want to support researchers and scientists who fight with the serious diseases, and I want to support also non-profit organizations in Russia that are fighting with, again, domestic violence, homophobia. We need to fight because we need to improve medicine and to educate people. Would you ever move more west or Russia to say the European part? So you mean if I want to move to Europe or to the European part of Russia? Yes, I would. Mostly because the Far East is not that developed and Russia is very centralized, even though we're a federation, but all money comes to Moscow, and Moscow is like 5 or 10 years ahead of the rest of Russia. At the same time, there are some drawbacks because accommodation in Moscow is expensive and you have to be very competitive. And answering the next question, I would like to move to the West, some European country. I've never been there, but in Russia we have a strong opinion that life in Europe is better. People there are happier and they have higher quality of life. But I know that it's not that sweet, and if you come to another country, especially as an immigrant, you have to work hard. And it's not about the place to live, it's about what I'm going to do. Because if I'm doing what I like, I will be able to live in Russia or in some other country. The next question is very suitable for this. Would you live in another country? If so, which one? I'm thinking about Germany. I don't know why, I just like German language. I also like the Northern Europe. At the same time, I don't like cold and I would rather live somewhere in the south of Europe. But I think at first I just have to go there and to see the country, to see different countries in Europe and then decide. Maybe as life goes, I will love Russia, have a good job here and career opportunities and good family, so maybe I will decide to stay in Russia. I actually hope so. I don't want to leave Russia. I like the Russian language, I like our people, it's my home. I don't understand why, because of the politics, I have to leave my own country. Other day I had a conversation with my sister by phone and she said to me, sometimes I'm thinking about what books I'm going to read and what exercises I'm going to do if I go to jail. And I said to her, yeah, sometimes I'm thinking that if I go to jail, I will be doing this and that. And now I'm thinking that is so crazy, that's so insane that I, as a young person, seriously think about a possibility to go to jail in my country for doing nothing. I haven't done anything bad. But in a country where the law doesn't work, you can expect anything. Who inspired you to make videos on YouTube? In 2014, I found a channel by Sergei Baklikov. It was called Real Russia, about Russia, Russian houses. He inspired me so much. I wanted to create the same channel, but I was too insecure and my English was very bad, and the only source of English practice were my Facebook friends. I just left that idea, but in several years, on the second year of my university, I decided, well, I will create this channel, because actually I created this channel 2 years ago. I was just not developing it. Then I became very inspired. I started to search for other Russian YouTubers who make the same type of content, and I found the channel called Different Russia, Russian Progress, Russian Plus, Ralph Russian Vlogs, Nikki Proshin, and many other channels that I really want you guys to check out. They're also very interesting. And another person who inspired me is Roman NFKRZ. I think many of you guys might know him. I just like how he managed to develop his channel, and I like how he investigates different Russian cultural issues, and I just want to be like him. I want to develop my channel to the same level. And it's a funny coincidence that Roman has the same major as I do. He was studying Chinese and English in his university in Chelyabinsk. What is your goal for your YouTube channel? Well, the first goal is my self-expression and creativity, because I've always liked making videos. I started from making Twilight parody and some action movie with my friends. Then I created this channel and I feel so inspired, and this channel helps me to escape from my real life problems, and I just feel very motivated when there's some project to develop. It's very inspiring when you have some work that is challenging, but you have to constantly work on it and to improve yourself. So I have to think on how to make my videos more entertaining. I have to improve my editing. I have to finally buy a new camera and to improve the quality of my videos. So there's a lot to work on. The second reason is educating people about Russia. I often get comments where people thank me for telling them about Russia and destroying some existing stereotypes. And when I get such messages in comments, I feel that I'm doing some useful work. And I love the idea of inspiring people who want to learn about Russia or who want even to come to Russia as a tourist. And the third goal for my channel is money. Yeah, it's not a secret that through YouTube you can make money. Actually, when I was starting this channel, I didn't even know that it is possible to earn some money on YouTube. But this summer I opened a Patreon page, and also I recently turned on the monetization, although I still don't get money from it because YouTube has sent me a letter, but I cannot get it because they sent it to my old address in my old dormitory. So I don't know, like, it's complicated, but for the past months I've been mostly living on that money that I'm getting from Patreon, and I'm feeling very self-sufficient and proud that I finally do work that is not only entertaining and useful, but also gives me money. And I now at least have some hope for the future that after my university, when I graduate, I will still have at least some side income. Yeah, I still have to think about some serious job. I have to have some serious profession, but also I will keep this channel as my hobby. And this is time to thank my patrons. Thank you guys very much for your support. And I also want to thank everybody who watches my videos, because even by your likes, comments, subscriptions, you also promote my videos and you help me and you help other people to learn more about such a beautiful country as Russia. This is the end of my video. As I said, these questions were asked in October, and I'm going to make another Q&A video maybe in a month. You can ask me questions either about myself or about Russia or about my attitude to some things in Russia, and you can write your questions in the comments below. You can send them on my Instagram account. Okay, thank you guys very much for watching this video. I wish you to have a good day. See you very soon. Goodbye.